Boisterous Winds, episode 3. This one is called Spiritually Pressured Wind Instruments. You know, sometimes we can be robbed of what we believe while chasing who to believe. Let's go to work. We're going to address spiritually or being spiritually pressured. It's not what you think. It's more of what we should know. But addressing the spiritually pressured is also being able to address our own spiritual internal weaknesses. But I will do so by discussing 4 points or 4 key points. There are more, but for the sake of time, I'm only going to discuss 4 for this one. And those 4 are, number 1, the lack of studying. Number 2 is repetitive behaviors. Number 3 is reading for yourself. And number 4 is personal understanding versus group acceptance. So let's get into number 1. Lack of studying. The lack of studying will cause all of us to accept anything and call it satisfaction, only to go home and suffer and be completely dissatisfied all alone by ourselves. Lack of studying allows us to smile in the presence of others, but frown in the midst of loneliness. A lack of studying can cause us to look a certain way externally, but internally we're crumbling. A lack of studying can cause other people to spiritually abuse us, to never be mended back ever again. Number 2, repetitive behaviors. A good example of repetitive behaviors are the fact that we're all sounding the same. And it is not intended for none of us to sound the same. We are one body with many moving parts. And all functions don't work the same. Your eyes and your ears have different functions and different purposes and different reasons of existence. Your legs and your arms are no different. But simultaneously, when we move them together, we're supposed to get one thing done, and that's our body to move in the direction in which we're supposed to hear specifically from him to do exactly what he's designed for us to do. It's not intended for us to be the same. Number 3, reading for self. You are supposed to read for self so that you can discover something specifically designed for you and you only. That is your distinctive sound, and you're doing your part. I'll cover that a little bit later. Number 4, personal understanding versus group acceptance. This will be a tough one, I promise you. See, groups hide our weaknesses, while personal understanding will expose you to bring you face to face with that internal weakness that we all run from. Now that's pressure. So back to the groups for safety and refuge, most do. Sadly, even while we're in groups, all of our hidden weaknesses are picked apart. Everyone does it. You just become the weakest person in the group instead of being the strongest individual you're supposed to be. But like I said, everybody does it. And it's really called talking trash or just blowing hot air. It's still spiritual pressure. Either way, it must be felt. It's just better if you do it from you to you. And your personal understanding, personal relationship will mean more to you with your personal experiences. Food for thought. You'll become your very own wind instrument if you remove all external spiritual pressure. Boisterous winds, spiritually pressured, spiritual poetry.